Drew and Stu are on the air.
Ready? Right.
Whether you're fading with Drew or riding with Cam, this is the place to get your weekly NFL picks.
Everything you got, let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Conference Championship Week on the Drew and Stu podcast. I'm Drew Livingstone. That's Cam Stewart. Cam, my Buffalo Bills, they blew it. They had the chance. They had Diggs open on the second down. Allen decided to go for the end zone. It was a good call because he was open, but he missed the throw because of a hit from Jones. I don't know. Everyone ripping him for those last two plays. You know what you rip on? The Bills' defense for not getting a single stop in the entire football game. And it is 3 games now against Mahomes in the playoffs. They don't have a sack or a turnover against Mahomes. It's just like the straw is going to break the camel's back sooner or later, Cam. Like you can't just go into a game against Mahomes and allow him to do whatever he wants.
I don't know how these Buffalo fans deal with it, Drew. Like you're a fan. Like think about the people living in Orchard Park, Buffalo, all in New York State. There's tons of Bills fans. And the way they lose games, it's like you almost want to get blown out like the Cincinnati game so you don't have to deal with it. It's torturous. And I'm going to say this, I become a Bills fan through like friends, family, Brian Blessing, all the other things. So they're my second team next to the Seahawks, right? So I always cheer for the Bills. But the thing about it is, like, what city can endure more torture? And the thing that makes me sick is it's like they're the one city, the fan base that needs it more than ever. Goodell's from Buffalo, but he treats like Buffalo like, you know, there's some kind of joke. I'm not saying anything about the commissioner. Like, you know what I mean though, Drew? Like, it's like, no, you think it would be there, but you bring up a good point that we talked about before the show about McDermott. He's not prepared in these games. The coaching staff's not prepared. I don't blame the defense because you're playing guys like Klein. We talked about it. He's on his couch. You had a chance. You had multiple opportunities to win that game.
But Cam, you're the head coach. You know you have Klein at linebacker. Why is he in man coverage against Travis fucking Kelce?
That's exactly it.
Kelce's
open by 20 yards. Well, you called it. You said that was going to happen. No, like our picks were amazing this week. We hit like every tight end prop but Laporta. I hit every side but the Bills. Like we were on fire. Like the thing about it though is I don't even care about that. Like now we got to deal with Kansas City for another week. Hey, Chief fan, good for you. You guys are winners. But I don't know what Buffalo's going to do. We'll move on to the podcast, but I almost think, Drew, like we talk about that stadium in Orchard Park on like a native burial ground and stuff. Like it's got bad chi there. Like no, but honestly, they should have built like when I go to Seneca, right by Niagara Falls, there's a huge plot of land, and that was their other option. Right by the falls, they always show the shot of the falls before the Bills games and stuff. It's a way better area. Why the fuck are you in Orchard Park anyway? Like it's not even close to Buffalo. Like the other area is 18 miles compared to 30 something. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's still not that far, but yeah, I see.
But you know what I mean, Drew? It's it doesn't feel like put a downtown stadium in there. Like change nothing's working before. Somebody pony up and let's change this because this is getting ridiculous. And the fact that the kicker misses wide right too, like to add insult to injury, like I know, you can't write a worse script.
We mentioned last week that Bass missed 2 against Pittsburgh, that we were worried about him missing kicks in this one, and we knew Butker was experienced. But maybe James Cook could catch a touchdown when it gets thrown to his hands instead of them having to settle for a field goal. He would have walked in the end zone. But that's neither here nor there, Cam. They're out. They're eliminated. Let's move on to the other games. Baltimore Ravens absolutely slaughtered the Houston Texans. We said it. Our favorite picks of the week were Baltimore minus 9.5. My best bets were 3-0. Your best bets were 2-1. The Bills is the only one you got wrong. Overall, you were 5-3 with sides and totals. I was 6-2 with sides and totals. It was a great week. We got messages, DMs from some viewers that they're like, "Oh, thanks to your best bets, I turned $60 into $1,500." I'm like, "Hell yeah, dude!" Like,
wow, positive responses. Yeah, I like that.
I appreciate when we get those messages. I do too. It's better than you idiots who took the Buffalo Bills. I bet my mortgage on it. It's like, well, we didn't tell you to bet.
Drew, I had San Francisco fans before the game, like saying things like before the game started, calling me like an idiot and stuff like that. Like my buddies are San Francisco fans, but that's the thing, like. Green Bay was a buzzsaw in that game, but we'll talk about it. And we're talking about Baltimore right now. That's a true sign of a great team.
I don't see how San Fran beats either AFC team if they beat the Lions. Like, I don't see, I think the
really?
Chiefs, I guess they want the Chiefs to win. I think San Fran wants the Chiefs to win because I think
they match up better against the Chiefs than they do against the Raiders.
Of course.
But I will say this about San Francisco, and we know this about sports, and this is what I'll tell everybody out there. The difference is, San Francisco fan, your team got it done when you needed to. You didn't play a good game. That's probably the worst game next to Baltimore that they played all year. But I will say this.
Yeah.
Drew, when you watch the NCAA tournament, every team that wins they're down 9-2, 9 with 2 minutes left. Like when Virginia won, they were down in every single damn game, and then they won the national championship. It builds character. You don't think Shanahan and these guys are like, dude, we got lucky. We played the worst game of our year, and we still won. Exactly. So, but as for Baltimore, this team's on fire right now, buddy. You called it earlier. They're a special football team.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Ravens to win the Super Bowl in the preseason, but then I switched to the San Francisco 49ers over the Chiefs in the pre-playoff. I got my Final Four right in the bracket. That's all good. But I'm starting to lean.
That's amazing.
I'm just saying I'm starting to lean that the Chiefs may lose to the Ravens now, but we'll see. Speaking of the Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay put up a bigger fight than I thought, but the Lions still covered, thankfully, because of did you see that they could have called a timeout when they kneeled the ball and the coach fucked up and they would have had to force him to kick a field goal? You at least would have had a Hail Mary chance if he misses that kick. Like,
I know.
Tampa, what are you guys doing? Like, look at that.
And another thing is the Lions are playing with fire a lot of the time. Like Campbell and his stuff. Like, you guys, man, like you had that game in control with ball. Like, you can't let these things happen because one of these days they're going to pull a Chiefs and like they're going to hit a Hail Mary and things are going to work. Like, here's the thing, Detroit, it's a great story. And if there's any justice in the world, which there's none, remember, like, just because I love Morency, we do the show, just because you want something doesn't mean it's going to happen. And you know what? It couldn't be more true. Well, what? Nobody wants it more than the Bills fans. They never get it. So who said life was fair? But the difference is Detroit's got something special going, but they got to go on the road now, Drew, instead of that beautiful environment at Ford Field. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Cam, a lot of teams. One thing I don't like that I just saw in the news 2 days ago, Zach Ertz signing with the Lions. I hate this bullshit where guys, free agents can sign in the NFC Championship game because they're chasing a ring. Like, what? Like, you did nothing. You don't even deserve a ring now if the Lions win the Super Bowl. You played what? You plan to play 2 games? Like, I don't. It's
kind of shocking. Well, yeah. Well, maybe the Bills should have just like done something, signed like not every defensive player that can walk before that game versus Kansas City. Right? Anyway, Drew, we'll get off it. Like, you know, the funny thing is, Bills fan, like when I do the show with Gabe and you and whatever, like you've seen this movie so many times, like you don't even want to talk. Like it's just like you're moving on. Like you don't even want to like yell and complain.
Like, he's missing this. There's no way he's hitting this kick. And even if he does, you just gave Mahomes he has 2 timeouts in 2 minutes to get a field goal to win. There's no chance they're winning this football game.
You bring up a good point about McDermott though. Like this guy's not prepared in big games. Like everyone talks about. Like this is the problem with the media. They're like, oh, this guy's such a great coach and whatever. No, I think. Don't get me wrong,
dude. His defense almost lost to Skylar Thompson last year in the playoffs.
That's another excellent point by you. Like, people don't even talk about these. That's the problem with the media. They find some low hanging fruit and they talk about it all day.
They blame Josh Allen, even though he played great.
If Josh Allen wasn't the Bills quarterback, they wouldn't even be getting a sniff of the playoffs. So everyone, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. And now Gabe Davis.
So we're getting worked up here. We're all over the place.
Podcast, Cam. Let's move on.
You're right.
This week, Chiefs going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Yes. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. The public is slightly on the Chiefs to start this. Cam, the total is 44.5. That seems like it's too low, but both defenses are very good. So let's start with the total, Cam. Where are you leaning, the over or the under?
I'm kind of leaning under. As crazy as that sounds, Drew. We'll finalize our picks. We'll put some same game parlays together. Damn, our props were like, I looked at my props. I'm like, this could have been like, if the Bills would have won anyway, that would have been a magical week financially. But anyway, I digress. Here's the thing. I think Kansas City's defense can kind of slow down Lamar. And I've already made a bet. We had a couple people on our show last night. The Chiefs team total is 20.5. I like under. I don't think they're going to get 21 points. I'm dead serious, Drew.
This game could be 17-13. You're right. It could be that kind of game.
I just think Baltimore, what they did, the adjustments they made in the second half against Houston were fantastic. And for people that say, oh, Houston, tied it, whatever. Yeah, they had a kick return for a touchdown. And Stroud is a very, very good quarterback for a rookie. He was under duress every time he snapped the ball. So Mahomes, you can do your little State Farm magic and do all your stuff, but I'm telling you, you have not met a defense. And unlike Buffalo that has guys coming off the couch, Baltimore's defense are killers. Patrick Queen and those guys, like when Houston players got up, they were like, oh God, like, do you see the way they hit? They hit it like full throttle. I'm telling you, the Chiefs got hurt in that game versus Buffalo too. A lot of guys were wilting at the end of the game. They're going to be like, you don't want to play, like Baltimore is a scary football team. Like
that's
as a grown man.
Cam. I saw some people live betting Houston when Houston tied the game at 10. And I was like, that might be the last time they score a point in this game. Like, I was like, Baltimore looked pissed off about that TD. And then that missed field goal, I was like, oh, well, it's done now. And Lamar had probably the worst half he's had in a while. And then he came out and was it 3 straight touchdown drives in the second half. Just impressive. And I hate some of the media. They're like, oh, well, Lamar's proven he can't win in the playoffs. Look, he has to run. He had over 100. Over 100 rushing yards. Why are you chirping the guy? Like he did it.
People, I don't understand these narratives. At the end of the day, you beat the shit out of a team in the second half and won by margin. Like what other story is there
for a quarterback? I hate.
And another thing is the Houston Texans are a good team on a heater,
Yes.
and they really did nothing. They got their points from a fucking punt return. So everyone needs to slow down the roll. And I'll tell you, Baltimore is a damn good football team. Lamar has proven that he can win these games now. He could have got, like, he looked not like in the first half. I'm like, oh God,
he didn't look great.
Here's Lamar. But then you know what? He figured it out. And that's what good people do. Good teams find a way to figure it out. Drew, I'm telling you, I think Kansas City is coming back in a body bag in this game. I will lay 3.5.
So I wanted to take the Chiefs plus 3.5, but it's leaning towards Willie Gay not playing. Willie Gay is their linebacker that spies these QBs. You saw when he left the game against the Bills, Allen was just running like roughshod all over them. Lamar's a lot faster than Josh Allen, Cam. I mean, he might not have a better arm, but I don't know if he'll need it. And like, I think the Chiefs is going to give up some points in this one. The key to them winning is going to be blitzing Lamar and making him uncomfortable, having to force him to throw the ball. But I just don't know if they have the linebackers to keep up with them. So I'm going to lean Ravens minus 3.5 as well. To start, this might change on Thursday if the health report. If Gay plays, I probably lean plus 3.5 Chiefs. But Cam, I don't know, man. We saw what defensive injuries can do to the Bills' defense. The Chiefs' defense is the same issue, and like Chris Jones can only get to the quarterback so many times. I agree.
Hey, dude, you helped me with the totals. I was a sides man last week, other than Buffalo, and that was definitely a heart bet. It was like I tried to will it to happen. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done. But the thing about Baltimore is also Andrews comes back. This is a very, very bad situation for Kansas City because Isaiah Likely is already good. And now you can use Andrews, if not 100%. They have a perfect decoy situation going on. They have receivers that have stepped up in their game. They have a running game. I told you about Justice Hill at the start. I go, he's going to get more touches. He's a little burner, this guy. And that's the type of guy you need against Kansas City. They're going to go ding, ding, ding. And they're going to use Gus as the battering ram. They're going to tenderize him with little Justice Hill. And the thing is, I don't think Kansas City, I really believe, Drew, that the most they'll score in this game, I'm saying the most, is 20. I think they score 17 or 14.
I think I'm leaning over. I know you said under, Cam, but I think the Ravens can score 30.
I agree with that.
Which means the Chiefs only need to score 17 to keep the total over the 44. And we saw the Ravens game go over 43.5 by 1 point just because the Ravens scored enough points to get over the total. So, yeah, I like the Ravens and the over in this one. This might change on Thursday. Our best bets this week, we're only going to give a gold and a silver on this show, Cam, and then we'll add some props as a bronze on Thursday because I don't think it's fair to do 3 best bets out of 4 picks. There's only totals and sides here.
Or we just do a shitload of bets and use every mineral in the book. We could do aluminum, copper.
But we still want our 3 best bets because a lot of people like to parlay our best bets.
Okay. Okay.
Props,
sorry,
on
Drew.
Thursday.
Hey, you're steering the car, so I'm just here as a passenger. But man, I'll tell you, these props, like, I don't play as many as, and it's funny. I was talking to a guy that used to be a bookmaker the other day. Like he's in the business. He goes, "Do you know I get like?" I go, "What was it in the past? Like when I played and stuff like that with you?" He's like, 90% like sides and totals. Like a couple people would play like a couple like
and now it's the opposite,
parlays
right?
or whatever. He goes, I get 80 to 90% prop action. Like
That's
it's
crazy.
all. He goes, all these young guys that are getting into it now, it's all props. Like they don't even care about like Green Bay plus 10 or Baltimore minus 3.5. They're just looking for player props. And the thing is though, it's a good and a bad thing because these numbers are sharp. If you don't get them early and you get the bad side of a number, I've seen so many bets, Drew. How many times have we talked about losing? I had a guy that lost a $16,000 parlay on 1 yard with Mahomes rushing or something like that. It's happened to me. It's happened to me and you like many times this year. So be very careful. If you like a prop, you got to hit it early because it's basically these computer kids are just like they're smashing this stuff. And the minute it goes up, you think, oh, 1 yard doesn't mean or 2 yards doesn't mean a thing. You're damn right it does.
My prop that I hit the hardest in that Bills game was Diggs over his catches and just 11 targets, 3 catches. Come on, Steph. Like, Jesus.
The whole thing was ugly, Drew. But anyway.
Let's move on. San Fran, Cam, escaped with the win, like we mentioned earlier. They're now 7-point favorites at home against the Detroit Lions. Cam, if the Packers team that we saw the last couple weeks was in playing like that all season, they probably win the division over the Detroit Lions.
I agree with that. 100%.
I don't know what Detroit team we're going to get. We've seen Jared Goff on the road versus the home splits. He's so much worse on the road. But this is California. This is where he's from. This isn't bad weather. It's expected to be a nice day.
It's a great point, Drew. He went to Cal. For people that don't know, that's the school in the north. It's not UCLA in Los Angeles. It's Cal Berkeley. So it is very close to Levi's Stadium where San Francisco plays, and you'll have a lot of people there. Here's the thing, though. As I said off the top, San Francisco, great teams get scares and they find ways to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they barely won the game. Shanahan probably went nuts and said, guys, this is the thing about the NFL. You got to play every play. I know Deebo Samuel's banged up. I understand that. But the difference is Green Bay had a strategy and a game plan with Purdy that I'm not sure. Hutchinson is the key for Detroit. He's playing great football right now. But the thing about San Francisco, Drew, they're going to have backup tight ends blocking. They're going to have other guys blocking, and they're going to come up with a scheme. You know what it is? Just protect Purdy, give him a little bit of time, and George Kittle might go off in this game. Like, I mean, off. Like, I think he can, like, literally have multiple touchdowns. I'm already going to bet his over, and I think he's going to go nuts. And the best thing that San Francisco had was hanging on by the skin of their teeth. You know what, Drew? I've never taken two favorites in this year in two games. I love San Francisco. I think they beat Detroit by 13 to 16 points. I was right the last week. I said Green Bay could win outright or they'll lose a heartbreaker, which they did. And I'm going to absolutely get on San Francisco's train when other people think, oh, maybe they're not that good or whatever. You know what? The NFL is different week to week. Every game is different. So I'm done.
We say it every week. When a team wins big, we go against them on the next one. When they win a close one or lose a bad one, we go with them next week.
You got
Everyone's
it, Drew.
on the Lions. Almost 70% of the public, Cam. I'm going San Fran -7. The fact that everyone's on Detroit and this line still hasn't moved to 7.5 is crazy to me. I think it might close at 7.5. So if you wait, maybe you get that hook. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love San Fran -7 in this one. The total's 51.5 currently. I think that's way too many points. I think this game's got like 23-10 kind of thing written all over it.
You know what, Drew? That could be the sharp. But I'm going to tell you something. Overs went 3-1 last week, and depending, like, my record was really a win, a loss. Depends where you bet it. Like, I won the Baltimore game, so our record could have been one better. But let's just call it out for what it is. I went up to Gabe and I talked to other people on the show. I go, not every game is going to go over, but I think 3 out of the 4 are going over, which it happened. And the game that everyone bet the over was the game that went under. Mm-hmm. People expect Detroit to score and San Francisco to score. You look at a 51, they're like, oh, San Francisco against that Detroit defense, they might score 40.
It's going to be 37-30. That's what people think.
Know what? I see San Francisco winning that game like you. I kind of lean under too, like literally 31-13. Like, I think they absolutely pummel.
I think it's going to be way under.
It stays under.
I don't think it's going to. I think
it'll be close. I think it'll be close, but I think San Francisco will win, as I said, between like 13 and 17. Like, I think they actually like hurt Detroit, and it's probably not good for ratings because they want people to watch all the way to the end. But if San Francisco comes out hot and doesn't like do what they did against Green Bay, Detroit playing from behind too is a recipe for disaster because Goff's going to have to take extra chances that he won't against that defense, Drew. Good luck.
That's what I mean. Like, he's going to have to, I don't know. Like, if you look
at I like the Lions.
Goff's stats on the road, Cam, he has 45 picks in 55 road games. Like, it's just.
That's horrible.
He's so much different on the road than versus at home. It's just, I'm leaning San Fran. I'm leaning the under.
We're reading each other's mail. That's what we're doing right now.
That's usually a good sign on the show, Cam.
It is, but it's interesting because in the divisional round, everything, like the world is topsy-turvy now. Last week was the week where all the favorites are supposed to win, and Green Bay covered, Baltimore to cover. So it's split, right? So Green Bay is a dog. They covered. Tampa Bay almost covered. What they ate? It was, I think it closed at 6.5 sets. So that was like right on the number.
Point, they covered the number.
Yeah, exactly. And the other game, the Bills were small favorites against Kansas City. Usually those are the weeks where teams win by 40. I think this is the week that both favorites could annihilate their competition.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cam. And then we're going to put some respect on Lamar Jackson's name after this week, I think. Or he lays a big egg, and the narrative continues that, oh, no one can beat Mahomes besides Joe Burrow. And no one realized that in the games against Mahomes, Joe Burrow's defense forces 2 picks a game, a bunch of sacks. Like, it's not like Joe Burrow's beating Mahomes just because he's scoring more points. It's the Bengals' defense is beating Mahomes, which is I don't think people realize that Baltimore, you need a defense to beat Mahomes.
If they get pressure and they come up with blitz schemes and actually put Mahomes, almost like.
Oh, and Harbaugh will take Kelsey out of the game. Whatever Kelsey's prop is, I'm taking the under on it.
I agree with you, Drew. And another thing is, like, people just think Mahomes, like Mr. State Farm there, is just going to magically find a way. Like, this Baltimore defense, I was actually impressed with Stroud. I'm like, this guy's getting up from these hits. Like, I don't think people understand when you watch a Baltimore game. Like, I watch every single hit, and I'm like, they don't hit like a regular team. They're killers. Like you watch Patrick Queen and those guys. Back there. Oh, I don't know what it is about being a Raven. This has been going on, Drew, since I was young. Like, they just find guys that are just nasty. They're just real mean, nasty guys that just like they hurt you. And you saw Houston, they took their will away at the end of the game, right, Drew?
I mean, it's still an impressive season from CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. The rookie
Great
went in
season.
there and almost won. I mean, you got to be happy if you're a Texans fan. You can't be upset with that loss. I mean, he's going to a buzzsaw. The fact that he won against the Browns is already impressive enough. But I laughed because Ray Lewis was on the Manning cast 2 weeks ago for the Tampa Philadelphia game. And when the Eagles just couldn't tackle anybody, Ray Lewis is sitting there is like, what am I watching? Like, come on. Like, he's watching the defenders just whiff on all the hits. I'm like, this is hilarious that they have probably the best hitter in NFL history watching this, just embarrassed for like arm tackle somebody, guys. Like, Jesus. So I think we could get a lot of that in the Ravens game where they wrap these guys up. Like, they really worried about number one receiver MVS? Like, I don't know, Cam.
I'd be worried if I was the Ravens because the one guy that the Chiefs have that I have a lot of respect for is how hard Pacheco runs. Yeah. He's like the Ravens.
He's angry at the earth, Cam.
Yeah, I want that guy's like on my team. Even though we got Kenneth Walker, I'm like, everybody needs a Pacheco. You need a back that's a killer. Like he wants to instigate pain, but the problem is that's the only guy in the Chiefs that I think that Baltimore's like, okay, this guy wants to start a fight. Everybody else on Baltimore wants to start a fight. Like, I just don't think the Chiefs have it in them. Like, basically, Baltimore's like a boa constrictor. Slowly, by the end, as we progress, each drive, I think Kansas City will get weaker and weaker and weaker until they get choked out.
And I could see them like taking a few personal fouls to start the game just to let the receivers and Chiefs know, like, hey, you're not just running over the middle free here. Eh? Like,
you're right. That's a typical Baltimore move. They'll go, we're going to like clothesline a guy to get a 15-yard penalty. We're just going to say, we're going to be here all day, bud. Like, do you want to catch the ball over the middle? You might not get up.
So that wraps up the game previews, Cam. Speaking of Baker Mayfield quickly, because I wanted to talk about this. The rumor is he's going to get $40 to $45 million on a long-term deal with Tampa. Do you agree with the decision by the Bucs to try and keep him?
I don't think I wouldn't go that long of the deal, but I'm going to say this. It's not my money. And we always talk about like, who cares? Like you're like, it's not my money. It's like teams can do whatever the hell they want. Here's the thing about Baker Mayfield. What hasn't he proved this year? He played with old receiver like Evans and Godwin's hurt a lot of the time. Otten really stepped up. We talked about Otten in that game. That guy was like a couple drives. It was just all Otten. And I'll say this, Baker Mayfield gets what he deserves because he bet on himself. He played a great year, and he earned his contract. The problem is, once you get the bag, like my boy Geno Smith, sometimes things regress. So, but the thing is, as a team,
Tampa might just tag him, give him the $45 million with the franchise tag, and make him play like essentially another 1 year deal. It's probably the move they should.
I agree with that, but players hate that when you give them the franchise tag. Like, these guys don't want to pay me. Sure. It's I wouldn't want to anger Baker because he had a really good year and he's in a good headspace right now, and we know things can change.
I mean, still, the franchise tag is respect. You get paid top 5 at your position. Mike Evans, 31 years old, was it 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons or whatever it is, and he's a free agent. If you had to say right now where he ends up, where's your pick? I'll tell you mine. Mine's the Dallas Cowboys.
It's actually a really good guess. Mike Evans. Denver?
Yeah, well, they're talking about moving on. Well, they're definitely moving on from Russell, and Sutton's gone too, based on his Instagram post, so maybe. But I think if you're that old,
I got one.
You go
Raiders.
For win, right?
Raiders to go along with Devontae Adams. They need another guy.
I think Adams is getting traded to the Jets. Isn't that the rumor?
Yeah, I don't believe any rumors, Drew. These are also the same people.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers like, hey, Mike Evans, come here?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, if all things, like, let's not talk about rumors and trades. The Raiders need help at receiver, and I think like he would help. Like,
I'm just saying, like Evans wants to win. You're going to be 32. Like you're going to sign a cheap deal with a contender. He's not going to chase money like Hopkins did. I think there's like 5 teams he'll sign a cheap deal with. I could see him replacing Higgins in Cincinnati, even maybe go opposite Jamar Chase.
Actually, you know what? Cincinnati's a really interesting spot too, because they're going to load up and Dallas with CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, you're right, Drew. I think Cincinnati makes a lot of sense. I was looking. Yeah, those are the teams. I think like if you're going to start new, I'd look at like what about the Chargers? Don't the Chargers need another? Keenan Allen's like
Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are combined making $60 million next year, so they have to release one of them to be under the cap. So the Chargers are in a world of hurt with their cap. So I don't know if they have the money to sign.
Can you believe this team? Like, but they need help. Like Keenan Allen can't do this forever. He's wicked, but he's
Eckler's
old.
Gone. Keenan Allen's probably gone with the cap hit. They probably keep Mike Williams because he's younger, or they release. I don't know who they keep out of the two, but they can only keep one. I don't know.
What do
I can see
they
Saquon
do?
Barkley going to LA to play with the Chargers because
You
they
know
need a
what?
running back now. With that
Great
guy.
call, great call by you. He's going to get out of New York and Barkley and nice little spot there. Here's another thing though. Sorry, Charger fan. Like people talk about Herbert like he's this guy that, you know what the fuck has Herbert done in a big game? You tell no, but Drew, seriously,
He blew a 3-score lead against the Jets.
Like he's a wicked quarterback for 3 quarters. Every time I need this guy, we watch him go, okay, this is the Herbert moment. No, sack, mistake, bad
I feel
throw.
like it's just the curse of the uniform. It's like the Bills. It's the Chargers and the Bills just like cursed. It's just
They do have a
saw
lot
it happen
in
to Rivers
common.
in the playoffs. Like they were on their way to the Super Bowl and he tore his ACL. It's just like, oh, great, thanks.
Well, people don't understand, for all you younger guys out there, the Patriots had a dynasty and the Chargers beat them. And instead of the guy going down, isn't it Marlon McCree? Didn't he try to run it back and they fumbled and the Patriots got the ball back and won? Like all he had to do, like literally, was go down. Marty Schottenheimer saves his job and they probably go like, see the way like it drew one little thing like that and
it almost happened in San
it's
Fran.
like the butterfly
Greenlaw.
effect.
This guy was returning the pick. And
What
I
was
like,
Greenlaw
what's this guy
thinking?
doing?
I know that's what I said too. I'm like, does Greenlaw's family have money on this game? He's like,
He wants San Fran minus 9.5. They want him to cover.
I was Drew. The first time he didn't go down, I'm thinking, what's the deal?
Well, and it wasn't even like he just didn't go down.
Spreads?
It was he's switching hands with the ball, swinging.
Oh, I
over
know.
I was like, this guy's gonna fumble the ball. Like it's like
it was insane.
And like Jordan
actually.
Love, that was a terrible throw, first down. Like what do
you know? What I'll cut Love some slack. He's a kid. Tough.
No,
spot
100%.
too.
But that was Brett Favre-esque. Remember that Minnesota throw against the Saints when he just threw it over the middle for no reason?
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into our best bets, Cam. We'll do a gold and a silver out of these 4 selections. I can start with my silver. My silver will be the San Francisco 49ers -7. I love this pick this week. I think they smoked them. Sorry, Lions fans. I think this is time the road comes to an end. Dan Campbell, great story. I just don't think your defense is good enough to stop this San Fran offense. So, yeah, San Fran -7.
I would agree with that, Drew. I'd say lock it in at 7 because I kind of like, I think it's very important what you said in the show. I think it could go to 7.5, 8. I know people are going to go, wow, like San Fran has to lay 7. Don't worry about last week. Every day is different. Every game is different. Every situation is different. That's the whole problem with people betting. And you know what? I've been doing this stuff for a long time and I learned over time. I still lose too. But I know one thing. Don't look at one game and expect the next time for them to reek again. I'm going to take Baltimore as my silver pick, Drew. The 3.5 right now. I worry about that hook because Kansas City's got some kind of voodoo magic that but honestly,
it's called Mahomes. That's the magic.
I'm so like honest to God.
I'm sick of him too, Cam. But all he does is friggin' win.
No, it's not sick of him. Know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of him bitching and pleading to refs and getting late calls after.
You like how upset and angry he is when he loses and he's yelling at refs and yelling at other players. Yeah. But then when he wins, he's all jolly happy.
That's the whole thing.
I know.
And I know, and I have all the respect in the world, Kansas City fan for Mahomes, but that's the difference. Other guys lose. They give like you saw what Jordan Love said to Brock Purdy. He goes, "Win it all." After that horrible, like that, Drew. Did you read the lips? Like. Because he respects him being Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft, small school at Iowa State. Like, that's a class act. Mahomes, you need to learn that. That's the whole thing about you. The world doesn't, you're one of the best. Like, honestly, I'd rather have you than anybody at the end of the game. But when a guy beats you, don't act like a clown and start bitching. Give me Baltimore -3.5 in this game. And I know what, Drew, I'm down with Lamar Jackson. I think he's been maligned, and I think a lot of the time things that have been said about him are unfair, and I'd love him to prove a point. I want Baltimore not just to win this game. I want them to like do it with a statement and kick the crap out of the Chiefs.
You know what I'd love to? I'd love Lamar and the Ravens to beat them with Lamar throwing 0 passing touchdowns and like scoring 4 on the ground, just for the crowd to be like, oh look, he can't throw the ball. It's Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
Just like it'd be funny. Just like
did people watch Baltimore Ravens game? Remember the week we went out to the bar and we helped that guy win $2,000 with a bet? And it was some game and they were playing Seattle actually. Remember we were watching that. Yeah. He made throws in that game through windows, and I saw him like hit Beckham at the other side of the field. Don't say listen. Lamar Jackson, he's a little bit inconsistent. He'll skip a couple balls in, but when he gets into rhythm, there's a guy that he's one of the best. So everyone needs to slow down on this guy can't throw, and he throws darts too, and he puts some zip on the ball. I like Lamar Jackson, man. Like,
and a lot
I don't
of people
understand why people hate him.
A lot of people are dunking on Purdy because of his like inconsistent game in the rain, but at the end of the day, he drove them down the field in the rain with under 5 minutes left in the game to take the game-winning score. So you got to respect him. That throw to Jennings over the middle with the linebacker jump.
Oh yeah. That was.
I mean, not a lot of guys can make that throw, Cam. That was a perfect throw, and everyone's
Brock Purdy. People want to bring him down now, and the thing is, they're like, "Oh, it's San Francisco, it's the team." I watched Brock Purdy play in college, and I was shocked that he was a 7th round pick. I'm not going to say he was a first, but I was thinking, maybe he'll go in the third or fourth. Team will take a shot with him because I've seen him against good teams play really, really well, Drew. He deserves, you know what? People are so critical. Like, why is everyone?
What do you think of the comparisons to JJ
McCarthy?
McCarthy? A lot of people are saying JJ McCarthy's going to be the next Purdy.
JJ McCarthy is I disagree with you. I think JJ McCarthy is a much better athlete because he's quick. Dude, the guy used to play hockey and he's quick on his feet. But I will say that
I think Purdy's better at throwing than
yes.
McCarthy.
I will agree. But the thing about McCarthy is he throws like laser beams. If he can find a way to figure it out, and some guys, it just takes it takes reps. And I would take a chance on McCarthy. I do not think he sucks. I think he needs to work on his
he doesn't
accuracy.
Suck. Obviously, he's a good quarterback. He won the national championship, Cam.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's I wouldn't take him in the top 5 rounds of the draft. Like he's a backup. He's a Nathan Peterman to me. Apparently, he's going to go first round in the CFL draft. I was
actually going to say cut your mic, but you're hosting the show here. If you compare JJ McCarthy to Nate Peterman, dude,
Peterman wasn't bad at Pitt, Cam.
Okay. Anyway, I remember Peterman when he got his first start, Drew. I was at like a CFL game and like he was playing later. I look at the thing. I'm like, wow, he threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter. Remember that game? His intro? I'm like, this guy reeks. Yeah, he was okay in college.
I think
Peterman. When I saw him come in for the Bears, I'm like, Fields, come back, please. Yeah, remember he's in for one play, like Fields concussion.
He's still employed.
I'm fine.
He's still employed.
He's employed. Know why he's employed? Because he's been there long enough to at least hand off the ball and run an offense. He's not going to do anything spectacular, right?
Fair. I think McCarthy's the same way. I don't think McCarthy's going to win anything. He's Mac Jones. Ooh. He's the Mac Jones style quarterback where you can win with him, but he's never going to be like, oh, I really wish I had that quarterback on my team, if that makes sense.
You're being very, very
our gold
harsh,
picks, Cam.
Okay, give me the gold.
We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
San Francisco is going to be my gold pick. I'm not even going to screw around with the total. I know we have a lean to the under, and I think the over is going to be a heavily bet play, but we'll talk about other minerals on the show. So, Drew, on Thursday, whatever, when we do this thing, I think we come up with a couple same game parlays.
We're going to be props, gold, silver, bronze props on top of these gold and silver.
Yeah, I think we should put together like some same game parlays and just basically, we only have 2 games. Let's run the gamut here. But I'm going to take San Francisco to win this game by, as I said, my number's between 13 and 17. I think what happened last week is going to inspire them. Detroit, I love you too. Dude, you know my teams. Seahawks, Bills, Lions, gold, silver, bronze. But the problem is you're dealing with San Francisco, who's going to be angry in this game. That's not a good recipe. So I'm going to take the 49ers to cover the spread.
My gold pick will be the 49ers Lions under. 51.5 is way too many points in my mind, so I like the under in this football game. I think I would pick under all the way down to 44.5. I think it's going to be a lot lower scoring than people think. Everyone thinks it's going to be 33-30 or something crazy like that. The shootouts never happen when you think they're going to happen. I stand by that. So give me the under in this football game as my gold. All right, Cam, that does it for the conference championship week. Next week, we get the Pro Bowl. But first, Thursday, our prop show. We're going to nail it this week, Cam. I want to win a bunch of money before that game we call the Super Bowl happens where it's just nonsense props.
I don't know what we're going to do with that stuff. But anyway, I guess we'll just have about 100 props. But if Laporta gets a touchdown, Drew, my tight end parlay hits it $1 million.
I know. I felt
what do we have? Laporta was the only guy, right?
Yep. Laporta was the only guy. And I know you're so excited to watch Usher at the Super Bowl. So we'll have to talk about your favorite Usher tracks next week as well.
I like Usher. He's fine with me. He's a fine choice.
I can see you dancing on the dance floor. I don't even know the name of the song. Yeah, I know that. What is that song even called?
It's called Get on the Dance Floor with a Drink. That's what it should be called because I got to be honest with you, when I hear that beat, it does make me want to dance.
100%.
You can't rip. Usher is a class act and a multi.
He just hasn't released anything new in forever, Cam. I hate when they do this because I know the halftime shows for older people like us. It's not for the younger generation.
Like us.
Well, sorry. What do you want me to say? Like you? I'm not going to call it.
No, you can, Drew. But you are getting older. I forgot. You have a child and a family, so you are officially old. If you have a kid, to me, I don't care. Whatever. If you're 17, you're older because you'll get older.
When you can no longer go out to the bar without worrying what time you have to wake up in the morning or your other responsibilities, you're an adult. That's the rule.
I am an adult, but I still don't worry about that stuff. I pay the price the next day, Drew. Right? 9 coffees, hot shower. Anyway, we're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that does it for this one. Please click like. Please click subscribe. Please rate and review this podcast on all audio platforms. And we will see you on Thursday for the props. Thanks, everybody.
This has been Drew and Stu. Follow Drew at Producer Drew and Cam at Cam Stewart Live. May the winners be yours and all of the best bets hit.